Go.
The endoskeleton.
Oh. Definition: an endoskeleton is an internal bony or cartilaginous structure of animals with a vertebrae and some invertebrates. Here's animals with an endoskeleton: a dog, cat, elephant, bird, horse.
Axial and appendicular sections of the endoskeleton. For the appendicular skeleton, the word appendicular is the adjective of the noun appendage, which means part that is joined to something larger. The appendicular skeleton consists of bones or cartilage that support the appendages of vertebrates. Appendages appeared as fins in early fish during evolution and subsequently evolved into the limbs of tetrapods. The appendicular skeleton includes the skeletal elements within the limbs as well as supporting pectoral and pelvic girdles in the case of tetrapods. However, these are lacking in fish. The axial skeleton is the part of the skeleton that consists of the bones of the head and trunk of a vertebrate. In humans, it consists of 80 bones and is composed of 8 parts: the skull, the ossicles of the middle ear, the hyoid bone, the rib cage, sternum, and the vertebral column. The axial skeleton, together with the appendicular skeleton, form the complete skeleton. Another definition of the axial skeleton is the bones, including the vertebrae, sacrum, ribs, and sternum. Here's a picture of a human skeleton. The axial skeleton is this bit in blue, and the appendicular skeleton are these bits in pink.
That's perfect. This mine. The sliding filament theory. The sliding filament theory is a scientific hypothesis on the theory of muscle locomotion. Structures involved in muscle contraction. Myofibril, a cylindrical organelle running the length of the muscle fibre containing actin and myosin filaments. Sacromere, the functional unit of the myofibril divided into I, A and H bands. Actin, a thin contractile protein filament containing active or binding sites. Myosin, a thick contractile protein filament with protrusions known as myosin heads. Oh god, these words are tropomyosin, an actin binding protein which regulates muscle contraction. Trioponin, a complex of 3 proteins attached to a triomyosin. In order.
Muscle contraction can be split into 5 steps. Step 1, a nervous impulse arrives at the neuromuscular junction, which causes a release of a chemical called this chemical, acetylcholine, or something like sounds like that. In the presence of this chemical causes the depolarization of the motor end plate, which travels throughout the muscle by the transverse tubules, causing calcium to be released from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. In the presence of high concentrations of calcium, the calcium binds to the troponin, changing its shape and so moving tropomyosin from the active sites of the actin. The myosin filaments can now be attached to the actin, forming a cross bridge. The breakdown of ATP releases energy which enables the myosin to pull the active filaments inwards and so shortening the muscle. This occurs along the entire length of every myofibril in the muscle cell. Step 4, the myosin it detaches from the actin and the cross bridge is broken when an ATP molecule binds to the myosin head. When the ATP is then broken down, the myosin head can again attach to the actin binding site further along the actin filament and repeat the power stroke. This repeated pulling of the actin over the myosin is often known as the ratchet mechanism. Step 5, in this process of the muscular contraction, it can last for as long as there is adequate ATT and stores of calcium. Once the impulse stops, the calcium is put back into the sarcoplasmic reticulum and the actin returns to its resting position, causing the muscle to lengthen and relax.
This is a stretch muscle. The diagram above shows a stretch muscle where the I band and the H band zone is elongated due to reduced overlapping of the myosin and actin filaments. There will be reduced muscle strength because a few cross bridges can form between the actin and myosin.
This is a diagram of a partially contracted muscle. The diagram shows a partially contracted muscle where there is more overlapping of the myosin and actin, with lots of potential for cross bridges to form. The I bands and the H band zones are shortened.
The diagram above shows a fully contracted muscle with lots of overlap between the actin and myosin. Because the thin actin filaments have overlap, there is a reduced potential for cross bridges to form again. Therefore, there will be a low force production from this muscle.
This is an example of a ball and socket joint. The ball and socket joint provides swinging and rotation movements. The joint has stabilising ligaments that limit the directions and extent to which the bones can be moved. These types of joints are found in the shoulders and the hip. This is an example of the hip. This is the femur, and this is the socket of the hip, and that's your ball and socket joint. A ball. What? I pressed the button. A ball and socket joint consists of a ball-shaped end that fits into a cup-shaped cavity. Ball and socket joints are classified functionally as multi-axial joints.
Fibrous joints. Fibrous joints contain fibrous connective tissue and cannot move. They include sutures, synodymosis and gonpomosis. Fibrous joints are rich in collagen tissue. There are no space between the bones. These joints are firmly interlocked by irregular hacksaw-like edges. These are fixed joints where bones are united by a layer of white fibrous tissue of varying thickness. These joints are also called fixed or immovable joints. Here's the